Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? You guys doing good too? I'm doing good too. So welcome back on my video session today. In today's session, we're going to be talking about Panasonic 3DO and Atari Jaguar. These were the next lineup of games consoles. The same thing that was going on with Panasonic 3DO, it was same with Atari Jaguar. Okay? Right in front of your screen, where you can see this is an absolutely amazing game on the Atari Jaguar 64-bit games console, they say, called Tempest 2000. This is a great looking vector kind of 3D graphics. It looks really, really great. It looks like an amazing game. It's a really, really thrilling looking game with good music and stuff like that. A lot of the times, right, companies always trying to surpass systems that are less powerful. And companies like 3DO or Atari, as we say, so making more powerful consoles is a better idea. It is, but it's wrong the way they were thinking. Panasonic 3DO was one of them systems which had packed-in features. Yeah, it was full packed-in features. It was an incredible looking machine. One of the best design from the Panasonic 3DO 32-bit multiplayer game system was the FZ10, which was made by Panasonic. That was one of the most amazing design in the Panasonic 3DO games console designs. Now this project, the whole project, was started by 3DO. Okay? And 3DO wanted to develop a system which is more powerful than Sega Mega Drive and Super Nintendo games consoles. Yeah. SNK Neo AS and SNK Neo CD had nothing to do with it, because those systems weren't successful, were they, by SNK? So the great competition was Sega Mega Drive and Super Nintendo. 3D completo, if we release a powerful system, we can surpass them. You know, at the time when the news broke out, when 3DO started talking about the system, and remember, 3DO is a American company, a US company, yeah. A founder, Trip Hawkins. Okay, his man is from Electronic Arts. Oh goodness sake, Electronic Arts. Isn't it easy to understand? If you look at the three top games that on Panasonic 3DO was FIFA Soccer, Road Rash, to Need for Speed. He put them games on there. They're from Electronic Arts, aren't they? They own his own games. And that's what he's doing. He's trying to put his games on there. He's trying to distribute them and, become really popular with the 3DO brand. The problem here is, guys, power wasn't good at that time. That's the same thing with 3DO And the same thing with Atari. Both of the companies were trying to bring powerful consoles in the 16-bit era. They wanted to finish off the 16-bit games console. Means surpassing them so people can start buying their consoles and then them systems sell less. Obviously, 3DO Atari are wrong. They're wrong because the technology was too ahead. It was too powerful at that time. Nobody needed that kind of technology at that time. This is between 1993, isn't it? Because Panasonic 3DO, right? If we look at it carefully, right? Let me just get some details out. Right. This is only just about the price, right? Nothing else. If you look at the system very carefully, the Panasonic 3DO was released in October 1993 at a price at $699. It was released in that year. Why would you bring a technology really powerful in 1993? Is this some kind of a joke? Because the thing was that Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo were really popular. And their consoles and their games were selling very well. You cannot bring a powerful technology in 1993, man. Till the 16-bit era is still alive and kicking. Both of them, 3DO and Atari, are completely wrong. They are doing stupid things like that. You think that idea is going to work? Because nobody even needed the technology at that time. Not only that, Panasonic, right, was a good brand. They gave a bad name to Panasonic as well. But Panasonic still did release exclusive games, as I did mention in my previous video, which you've probably seen on Panasonic 3DO. Some people watched it and they enjoyed it. Thank you very much for that. The price they're asking for in the UK, £399. Now Panasonic, as I said, was a great brand. They released exclusive games for it, like Burning Soldier and Super Street Fighter Turbo. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Panasonic took them games exclusively around Panasonic on these ROMs on these CDs, which is really good. Obviously, Panasonic manufactured the system. You see, and they really wanted the system to take off so well. Because everything Panasonic was doing, from the games console, from the game controllers, from VCD adapters, memory cards, you name it, they were all made by Panasonic. They're all made in Japan. Where 3DO was spoiling everything for Panasonic. Everything. You can think of every stupid thing that 3DO company was doing. Where Panasonic was doing really good things. Now the price at $399. Who can afford that back in 1993? There will be very few people who will pay for that price. Because nobody needed Panasonic 3D technology anyway. And why would somebody spend originally, which was $649 or $699? Why would they? If you're already happy with 16-bit and it was the right technology, there was no place for Panasonic 3DO to appear in 1993. The system should have came in 1995 when Sega Mega Drive and Super Nintendo were completely gone. Then they could have done that. So there are a lot of mistakes in it, isn't it? Releasing in the wrong time, powerful technology, high price. Made the Panasonic 3DO a big flop. Then 3DO company didn't just stop there. They were trying to release another machine called Panasonic M2. The M stands for Matsushita, and the 2 stands for its second 3DO games console. That's what the 2 stands for. Obviously, the original Panasonic 3DO system wasn't doing so well. And in the way, Sega Saturn, Sony PlayStation was in the way. There was no way this system was coming out. You know what else? You know what the big problem here was again? If you got a Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation there, which was 32-bit system, they did again stupidity. A more stupid thing again. The same stupid thing that they did with the 16-bit era, they did that with 32-bit era as well. They gone with the Panasonic M2, which was a 64-bit games console. This system was a CD-ROM based system. It was an add-on for Panasonic 3DO. If I'm not wrong, Panasonic 3DO had extension at the bottom. And at the bottom, you put the Panasonic M2. And at the bottom, you have the Panasonic M2 as a CD-ROM drive. At the top, you have the Panasonic 3DO system. Again, Panasonic M2 was a 64-bit games console. It was too far ahead in technology. Too much! It was too much. What they were doing. Okay, maybe it was too much for that. Some say Nintendo 64 was coming in the way. Oh my gosh, what was going on here? You got this Sega Saturn in there, then you got a Sony PlayStation in there, right? And this Panasonic M2 is ahead of that technology, right? Then Nintendo 64 appeared. Because Panasonic M2 was supposed to release in 1997. But the problem was Nintendo 64 appeared in March 1997. And it was said Nintendo 64 was more powerful. Yeah, there's a more powerful hardware. And that Panasonic M2 wasn't that powerful. And there was no way that this system was getting through that. No chance. Nintendo 64 would have wiped the floor out of that damn thing. It didn't have the... It had a CD, but in terms of 3D hardware, it wasn't powerful enough. The Nintendo 64 was a much better system. Okay? So that's Panasonic there, Panasonic 3DO, and Panasonic M2. Both main consoles projects were 3DOs, but both of these systems were the first one was manufactured by Panasonic, the second one did not even come out. There were some pictures of Panasonic M2, which Panasonic was going to manufacture. They looked really, really good. They look really, really amazing. They look really good. Okay, so it's a shame 3DO couldn't understand anything. Complete dumb company, dumb. Panasonic, on the other hand, wanted to live exclusive, and they did release some good games on Panasonic 3DO. Now, next up, you can see on the television, Tempest 2000 on the Atari Jaguar 64-bit games console. Atari Jaguar wasn't really a 64-bit games console. Don't believe in that. It wasn't. It wasn't a really 64-bit games console. It was 32-bit. 32-bit, man. How does Atari Jaguar become 64-bit then? And why did he say 64-bit on the console? If you look at these games on Atari Jaguar, they just look good as Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation. Who agrees with that? And I see, in a way, Sega Saturn games were far better than Atari Jaguar anyway. Their graphics were better. Because literally the Atari Jaguar, which they called 64-bit games console, if you look inside the bonnet, the system, it was a RISC technology of 32-bit. Yeah, not 64-bit. The cartridge-based system was 32-bit. Alright? But when you combine the Atari Jaguar CD, then it becomes a 64-bit. But what becomes a 64-bit though? Is it a cartridge or the CD? No. The CD becomes a 64-bit, not the cartridge. The cartridge is 32-bit, nothing happens to it. Okay? Because if you're connecting it together, in a way, what I just said, I got that. Is it just a cartridge or the CD? Basically, the Atari Jaguar CD is 32-bit as well. So Atari Jaguar 32-bit plus Atari Jaguar 32-bit equals 64-bit. When you connect both of them, it becomes 64-bit. Okay? It becomes 64-bit. Now the biggest problem with this is Atari Jaguar cartridge system can never be 64-bit. How's it possible? Atari can lie as much as he wants, but he isn't. If anybody opens that system, look inside the bonnet, it's 32-bit hardware in there. Because the Jaguar CD cartridge slot goes into the Atari Jaguar. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you connect the Atari Jaguar CD to the Atari Jaguar, then it becomes a 64-bit. But now the problem is, once you do that, you can't play cartridges. No, you can't play cartridges. Then how can you turn that into 64-bit? You just couldn't. But if you look at the back of the Atari Jaguar CD, there was a cartridge slot, you know. Yeah, there was a cartridge slot at the back. What used to happen with that? Because a Jaguar CD had a cartridge slot. This is a similar thing like Sega Multi-Mega, isn't it? So when you put a cartridge back of the Jaguar CD, it plays the games. Now with that idea, it becomes 64-bit. Okay? But if we just look at the console on its own, the Atari Jaguar cartridge-based system, that's just 32-bit. But when you put Jaguar CD on top, then the cartridge slot behind the Jaguar CD becomes 64-bit. Alright? And then your CDs are 64-bit as well. That's how it becomes 64-bit. This is a cheap idea of Sega doing that with their 3 consoles. But that was done in a different way, wasn't it? Okay, let's go through this. Sega had a system called Sega Mega Drive, didn't it? And the Sega Mega Drive was 16-bit. 16-bit. The Sega Mega CD was critically claimed to be a 32-bit system. Was really a Mega CD a 32-bit system? If we just take just the Sega Mega system on its own, was it a 32-bit system? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was a 16-bit games console. 16-bit! Can you see? That's the same thing that Atari did. Atari Jaguar was 32-bit. Atari Jaguar CD was 32-bit. It took the idea from that. Did you see that? It's just a half-way power, isn't it? So when you connect Sega Mega Drive to Mega CD, Sega Mega Drive stays 16-bit though, but the Sega Mega CD becomes 32-bit. Okay? That's how it works. Alright. Now the biggest problem with Sega Mega Drive was really big. They used another system called Sega Mega Drive 32X as an add-on. You use the cartridge slot of Sega Mega Drive and slot it in. Now, if you slot that Sega Mega Drive 32X in there, right, then you only get to play Sega Mega Drive 32X games. You cannot play Sega Mega Drive games. In order to play Sega Mega Drive games again, you need to remove the Sega Mega Drive 32X add-on. Problem, isn't it? Big problem. You have to take it out. It would have been better if Sega Mega Drive 32X could both use Mega Drive cartridges and Mega Drive 32X cartridges. But I didn't do that. Anyway, that's the Sega story. So Atari copied the same idea from Sega, and now why didn't Atari Jaguar be very successful? Atari released its Jaguar console in 1994 when the technology wasn't needed. Same thing with Panasonic 3DO, as I said before. It was too quick to Atari to release a 64-bit console. And he was lying in the articles and the information he was giving us, saying that it was a 64-bit games console. He was trying to scare everyone off by saying that, oh wow, I'm going to release a Atari Jaguar 64-bit games console with a game called Alien vs Predator. Because them graphics you look at Alien vs Predator, they're not 64-bit, they're 32-bit. Okay, they might look more realistic, but he just used kind of hardware which looks more realistic, but it was only 32-bit. Okay, it wasn't 64-bit at all. People couldn't understand that. They thought it was 64-bit graphics. It wasn't. It was only 32-bit. So he put that up front to defeat Sega Mega Drive and Super Nintendo. Atari just slapped his own face by lying to everyone that his technology is far beyond anything. He's saying it's 64-bit when he wasn't, when he was only 32-bit. Even if he released it as 32-bit, it still would have been too powerful. It still would have been no good. Because releasing 32-bit or 64-bit consoles in 1994 was a wrong idea. And this console was priced at £199. I think it's a bit expensive, especially for 1994, when you can get Sega Mega Drive or Super Nintendo around about 120, 130 pounds. Why would you want to spend another, 70 quid or something, 70 or quid, 60, 70 pounds more, when you can get Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo with lots of games already? You gotta understand, Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo were released in 1990, and if you look at 4 years later, look how many games are on Sega Mega Drive, Super Nintendo. And then Atari just brings us this really powerful system. He goes, buy my console. It's really powerful. And he gave a huge price tag of £199. The technology was too high, and the price was too much. Not only that, there were too many 16-bit games on there. Nobody could see anything that was capable of 64-bit apart from this one. In 1994, we took that. There were some other games. I think another one I can remember on top of my head was hold on. Okay, let's see what he was giving us in 1994 for 64-bit graphics. Aliens vs Predator. Let me think. Checkered Flag. Club Drive. Iron Soldier. These kind of games, aren't they? You're trying to wow the public with these kind of games. That's probably more than 9994. I will be going on in my next video where I will be playing the Atari Jaguar games. Okay, I will play some of them for you. Releasing a powerful technology in the wrong time, high price tag, doesn't work. And then it became a big flop. And top of that, too many Western games and 16-bit games. No, we liked all that. It looked totally crap. That's what I have to say. It looked totally crap. Nobody would ever bought this console anyway. All the problems it had. I couldn't understand one thing about this company though. If your Atari Jaguar was already performing really bad, what made you to release Atari Jaguar CD? I was very surprised to release Atari Jaguar CD. I think you shouldn't have released it. You go and release Atari Jaguar CD, you know what happened to that? That was even a bigger, massive flop than Atari Jaguar cartridge-based system. Really big flop. The Atari Jaguar CD was. Massive flop. Look at that, what happened to it. It was absolutely terrible. World's disaster games console, Atari Jaguar 64-bit games console, cartridge-based system, and Atari Jaguar CD, one of the world's most unsuccessful, worst selling games console in world history. Alright, so I hope this has been quite informative here, and it's given you a lot of information about what was going on with Panasonic 3DO and Atari Jaguar. Both of the systems didn't take off so well and both flopped. Okay. I do say, if we look out at the Panasonic 3DO and the Atari Jaguar, the Panasonic 3DO was a level of Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation, you know. The Panasonic 3DO was. And Panasonic 3DO had much better games, graphics, and gameplay. Definitely. It was a really good quality. Still, a lot of people buy Panasonic 3DO. I think the main reason why people buy Panasonic 3DO still, because of that, it was manufactured by Panasonic. Yeah, and it was made in Japan. And there were some exclusive games from Panasonic and some from Studio 3DO. It makes it a really good purchase. That's the thing I'm thinking of that is making people buy this system. But some of the games on this Panasonic 3DO are pretty good, man. They're pretty cool. I mean, there were games like, let me think, Burning Soldier, Doom. It's not a bad game, Doom was. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Starblade, Way of the Warrior, Gridders, Phoenix 3, and so on. There were pretty some neat games on this system. Really good stuff. So I hope you guys liked my video today, and it's giving you a lot of information between Panasonic 3DO and Atari Jaguar. If you're looking to buy a console out of these two, go for the Panasonic 3DO. Do not buy the Atari Jaguar. Atari Jaguar isn't that good anyway. It's got some good games, yeah, but there's not that many of them. It's better off to play emulation on the Atari Jaguar. But the Panasonic 3DO, there's quite a lot of good games on there. There are some very unique games on Panasonic 3DO. Because I do like the design that Panasonic created on the FZ10 model. Looks very nice. Because all the designs from the games console and the accessories were made by Panasonic. There are some good exclusive games on Panasonic. I think I would buy the Panasonic 3DO FZ10 model and buy some exclusive games from Panasonic. And maybe Studio 3DO as well. So I hope you guys like my video today. Give your likes, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.